All right, everybody, welcome back into the Friday forecast with the Auburn Sports crew. Jeffrey Lee, Cole Pinkston. I am Justin Hokanson. What's going on? Jeffrey's on the road. Cole's got allergies.
Well, I mean, that's not new. That's not new news.
Rudolph.
It's like once every 4 shows, I got something like that going on.
It's noticeably red today, Cole.
I know. Try not to stare at it the best you can. We're going to talk about the game.
Let's talk about it now. Let's just talk about your allergies. Let's get it out in the open.
Are you a Clarington or a Clarington man?
I take a Zyrtec at night, but I ran out 3 days ago. So here we are. Hey, but when I was younger, they were worse, man. Way worse. We've gotten better. Okay. It's a little dry out there. You know, we ain't had rain in a bit.
You're right.
We need a good rain.
That's how you know we're old.
Yeah. That's my favorite part about talking to your parents is like they'll just be like, nice weather. You know, the weather conversation just always cracks me up. Like, what's the weather gonna be like in 4 days? I'm like, I got so much going on, man. If that's your concern, man, you've made it.
Auburn, Oklahoma, a bunch to talk about in this one. Before we do, let's do a shout out to Game Time, our sponsor, and then let's get into it.
Yeah, you know, I was gonna say, y'all have kids. Did your kids ever get into the stage where they're asking you what time it is every 5 minutes?
Not yet. No, she never really got there.
I'll play along.
No,
it is like he wants to know what time it is every 5 minutes. So I tell him the first time, and the second time I just say game time. So game time. I had to use it the other day, and which is weird because you know in this business we don't really go to games like that. We get media passes, but my wife and son wanted to go to a game. I used game time to show them where their tickets were going to be, and it was a big thumbs up after I showed them. And that's one of the biggest things I like about game time. But they got a lot of things going on. Priorities first. Fees are included. You know your total up front. No surprise fees at checkout. I love that. Zone deals. You can save even more when you choose a section and let Game Time choose the seats for you. You can snag new ticket deals before anyone finds out. Following your favorite teams. You can follow Auburn. Shoot, you can do it for Zach Top, Creed, your favorite music. Those are mine, in case you didn't know. Seat views, you get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. That's where I didn't buy from Game Time, but I used that. I went on Game Time, found our seats, showed the panoramic view. You got the whole stadium view from where you're sitting, and you get that virtual before you get your tickets. You get the lowest price guarantee. Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference if they don't give you that. Game Time ticket coverage, your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets, concert tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code ON3, $20 off your first purchase. Swipe, tap, ticket, go, download the Game Time app today. Game Time.
Okay. Game Time. All right, let's get into this thing. Auburn 6.5-point underdogs. Going to Oklahoma, first game in the history of Auburn football in the state of Oklahoma. Fourth all-time meeting between the two teams. Yeah, they never played in Oklahoma. They've played Oklahoma 3 times, twice in the Sugar Bowl, once in Auburn last year. So Auburn's never played in the state of Oklahoma. 0-3 all-time. What else we got? Game notes here. That's I don't know. It's going to be an interesting game. John Mateer's the Heisman favorite. I think it's sort of a consensus Heisman favorite going into this game. Auburn's a little banged up, right? We're watching Champ Anthony's health. We're watching Jay Crawford's health. We're watching Amaris Williams' health. Jay Crawford and Amaris Williams are doubtful at the moment that we're recording this. So that's a big storyline is what does Auburn's secondary look like? Oklahoma's a little beat up on the offensive line. Their starting center is probable, but banged up. Their backup center got hurt a week or two ago and is out for the year, and his backup is injured and banged up. So the center position's kind of a mess for them. And then one of their starting tackles, I believe, is kind of banged up. So they got a little bit of, some minor stuff going on the offensive line. So I don't know. There's some stuff that could impact the game there. I still think there's a decent bit we don't know about both these teams. I think both teams have played a decent opponent, Michigan and at Baylor, and then there's a couple of cupcakes in there. So I think we'll learn a lot more Saturday at 2:30. Jeffrey, start with you. What are kind of your initial thoughts? We'll do scores and stuff later, but what's like the first one or two things when you're thinking about this game that you're like, Auburn has to do this to be in this thing in the fourth quarter?
I tell you what concerns me the most about Oklahoma is the front four and Auburn's inconsistent pass protection. I think that's going to be a problem for Auburn. I hope it's not, but I do think it's something that I'm going to be watching. Will Jackson to throw, or are we going to see a lot more? I think Oklahoma's really talented on defense. That's my biggest concern with Auburn and the offense, the inconsistencies on offense. We've seen some really good offense from Auburn. We really have. We've seen some weaknesses as well. So I think the biggest thing is, can Jackson Arnold not turn the football over for the fourth game in a row? That's going to be the biggest deal for me. Can they have time to make? They want to throw the football down the field. Hugh Freeze is geeking. He's sitting there tapping his vein on his arm. He needs that big dog. He needs to air it out. Will Auburn's offensive line give Jackson Arnold the time to be able to do that? That's my biggest concern. Mateer, the defense, the secondary. It's troubling to me that I do not believe Auburn's secondary has an interception through the first 3 games. Correct me if I'm wrong on that.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
They do not have any interceptions. The tackling has been inconsistent. So I will be surprised, and I'll kind of wrap it up there at the end as far as score goes. But this is going to be a tough pull for Auburn.
Yeah, I think
kind of like that hot blonde in the corner for me. It's going to be a tough pull.
I agree, Jeffrey. It is going to be tough. I give them a slight edge. I don't give them a huge edge, Oklahoma. I give them a slight edge. Their offensive line, dude, what a revolving door that has been. They've had 4 different guys take snaps at left tackle. Luke Buklinko, Jacob Sexton, Logan Howland, and Michael Fasusi. Fasusi, you may remember him, Jeffrey. He was a 5-star last year.
Yeah.
He's a freshman.
He's the one banged up.
He's banged up. Yeah, like he played a full game. They thought he did well. Now he's hurt. Howland is back in. He had a terrible PFF grade against Temple. Terrible. Like in the 50s and everything, which I thought was interesting. And I watched the film on that, and he didn't look great to me. So I think they have issues there. Whereas I look at Auburn and go, you're pretty consistent on the offensive line. You got everybody you want there. Everything you prepared for is good there. You got a 6-man and Isaiah Miller if things go bad with someone. I like the way that's set up. let me say, I hate that our Mason Thomas for Oklahoma has to miss the first half because I do not agree with that stupid rule, but it's good for Auburn. It's very good for Auburn because that guy's a game changer. Anytime you lose a game changer, it hurts. Now, he'll come back angry in the second half. He will come back mad. But it gives Auburn a chance to maybe get out in front in the first half if they're able to throw the ball without that consistent pass rush threat that guy gives. The guy on the other side, Marvin Jones Jr., he's really good too. I've studied this Oklahoma team. I think their front seven's as good as anybody Auburn's going to see. I think it's in the top 3 of teams on Auburn's schedule. That's the matchup that worries me the most for Auburn. I actually believe in Auburn's receivers and passing game. I think they'll be fine.
Yeah. Oklahoma's linebackers really good. I was looking the other day, like of their top tacklers, it's linebacker. I mean, there's no doubt that group can go. I kind of look at it and I go, I think Auburn, I don't know. I think there's some similarities in that Mateer and Arnold, both teams are going to go, how do we limit the running ability of those two guys? Both teams are going, if we let Mateer, scramble and run and that become a part of the game, it's going to be hard to stop. And same thing with Oklahoma. They're looking at it going, if Jackson Arnold's legs are a part of it, like he was at Baylor, and then we also have to think about their receivers and all that, that's going to be difficult. So I think both teams have got to tackle well and do a really good job on the other team's quarterback. But yeah, you look at it, Mateer's averaging 314 yards passing a game. Auburn's obviously not averaging that through the air. They haven't necessarily had to. And so that's a little bit of a question mark, kind of which I sort of agree with you. I think the receivers, I think Auburn's receivers can get open and make plays. But you're now entering the schedule where you're going to have to make those plays through the air. I mean, you're not just going to run for 300 yards and get away with passing for $115 on the road at Oklahoma. I don't think so anyway. So you're just now going to sort of get to that point of the schedule where your drop back passing game's got to be there a little bit. And you've got to show some passing concepts. I really cannot decide on this game. Part of me says Oklahoma wins by 10. It's kind of where I've been for probably a month. But there's another part of me that wonders, I don't know. I think Oklahoma's good. And I'm not saying they're overrated, but part of me wonders if they're slightly, like, are we building them up to be? I've seen people saying that they could win the national championship. They could. And I'm not saying they can't. I just wonder that, how good is Michigan? They're pretty good. Okay. They've played 2 cupcakes. I don't know. I think Oklahoma's good, but I wonder if we're building them up to be a little bit better than they are. And are we discounting Auburn's win at Baylor a tad bit? Is that a little bit better win than we're giving it credit for? I don't know. I mean, we'll find out more Saturday, but my gut would say on the road in Oklahoma, they've got a prolific quarterback. I trust their defense more than Auburn's probably at the moment. And I would go, I think Oklahoma's got a great shot to win, but man, part of me thinks that Auburn might come out and play a physical brand of football, and it won't necessarily be the shootout that people think. And Auburn might show some stuff in the passing game. Like if they're forced to, maybe you see Cam Coleman and Eric Singleton kind of come alive a little bit. I don't know. So I'm leaning Oklahoma winning the game, but there is a small part of me that thinks Auburn is absolutely capable of showing maybe something they haven't yet and going in there and running the ball a little bit and taking some pressure off and controlling. My thing for this game is tackling. That's it for me. Like that's probably that and offensive line, but we wrote about it. They missed 17 tackles against Baylor, 15 against South Alabama. That's a ton. I mean, that's a ton of missed tackles.
The best stat I saw from you was the number of players that have a missed tackle on their resume this year.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? I think you said it was 17 different, 18 different players on defense have missed tackles.
And 10 have missed more than one. And 6 of the top 11 were DBs. You got like 5 or 6 guys have missed at least 3. Yeah, it's a lot of guys that have got a missed tackle on their resume for sure in just 3 games.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you, Justin. I think we might be overhyping Oklahoma just a bit. I don't think their offensive line's that great. I really don't. I felt like Baylor's was better going into that game, and Auburn really took care of business against their offensive line, especially in the run game, which is where I think Oklahoma struggles some on the offensive line. They don't struggle that much in pass protection. I think they do really well there. Now, with all these different guys in and out, I mean, that could be a problem when they face a defensive line like Auburn's, which has been pretty good, especially on the edges. And losing Amaris Williams hurts a little bit if you don't have him. Yeah. But you got Falk, you got Crawford. He's leading or tied in the SEC for tackles for loss and sacks right now. I think a lot of it is perception of the Michigan win.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big win. It's a really big win. They found a way to win that game. They deserve credit for that. How good is Michigan? I don't know exactly yet.
That's the question, Cole. That's why I'm asking myself as well.
Yeah, well, they're kind of – I mean, they're pretty strong talent-wise, but at quarterback they're brand new. So I think Oklahoma probably met them at the right time. I would say the same for Auburn and Baylor because Baylor's offense keeps getting better. So Auburn definitely met them at the right time. But you need to give Auburn credit for going on the road and winning a game like that. So you can go back and forth like this all day long. I give Oklahoma a slight edge because of talent at certain areas and production. Like you said, their linebackers are really good. Kip Lewis is the guy that picked off Auburn last year. He's back. He's having a good season. He picked off Alabama last year. And pick six against them, pick six against Auburn. So they got a star-studded defense, and they got a good defensive coordinator, and that's where I worry about Auburn in this game. And Jackson Arnold, like, what exactly do we know about him yet? Because when you put him together with John Mateer, I don't think there's a stark difference, but you have to give Mateer the edge at this point. He's shown much more as a passer. And is that on Arnold, or is that on them keeping things conservative, which they definitely have? And I think if you're just looking at Auburn on face value, you think you know their identity. They're a run-first team. But they can flip that on you in any minute, and they got the tools to do it on the outside now. So I would, that's where if I'm like a national person looking at this, I would go, Auburn could sneak up on you because of that.
Yeah, I was trying to find a stat to toss out here. I don't remember where I saw it. It was one of our Oklahoma guys was doing a story, and he put out a stat that I hadn't looked up, but it was, I don't know if you saw it, Cole. It was basically so far this year, Auburn is throwing it 38% of the time, and it was either the lowest or one of the lowest percentage passes per game in Hugh Freeze's entire career so far. And so I think that is a big question mark. Is that simply because they haven't had to? Or is, we go back even to August camp. We heard things about drop back passing. Like I heard plenty of stuff about when it was drop back time, it didn't always go great. I'm just really curious to see if that is because they haven't had to, or it's just not a strength for whatever reason. I don't know, because they're going to have to make some of those plays. I mean, they desperately have to be able to run the ball and control the clock with Cobb and Alston. If they can, they have a great shot at winning the game. But if they don't, Mateer's the better passer. I think Arnold's played well, but that's just such a big question mark. If Oklahoma's able to just go 7 in the box, whatever, we're going to control this completely. You can do what you want all day. You're not going to get the run going much. It just affects the RPO. I mean, if you take the run away, think about what you're doing. The whole point of RPO is being able to run and then have an option. Well, if we're stopping you on the run, RPO kind of goes out the window. I mean, it's like you can't do it. So I still want to see what this offense can do on Saturday. It's just going to be a massive test. And I still go back to Jackson Arnold. Just like Baylor, his legs are the X factor for this offense all season. If he can use his legs and find ways, everything changes. If he doesn't, then I think it can kind of look stagnant at some points.
Yeah, the idea of the offense, because what Oklahoma's going to do 100%, Brent Venables, he's going to take away the run. I don't know why you wouldn't. It wouldn't make sense not to. Try to make you one-dimensional in the passing game. He knows as much about Jackson Arnold as anybody. Make him throw the football. He didn't do that well at Oklahoma. He hasn't had to do it this year at Auburn. I mean, it's 100% true to say Auburn has not had to throw the ball to win these games. That's true. That's just a fact.
Yeah.
But it doesn't answer the question of how good they are at throwing the football. So the only way to get them to back off is to hit a shot. And that's why you paid for Cam Coleman. That's why you paid for Malcolm Simmons and Eric Singleton and Xavier Chaplin for that matter. This is where you find out if that investment was worth it. I put that on the board the other day. It pissed some people off for saying that.
Why?
But I don't know.
Just saying this is, yeah.
I guess for pointing it out, I don't know. But this is where those investments have to make sense in a game like this. If they pressure you on the run, you have to be able to hit a shot. If you can't, you start questioning if it was worth the investment. That's just the bottom line of business, of the business that is football right now. And Auburn.
What are y'all's thoughts on just the Jackson Arnold element of this? Like, whether how does he play? Do the emotions of going back impact how he plays? Does his knowledge of what OU might like to do on defense does that help him, or vice versa? Does it help Brent Venables knowing I kind of know what rattles him, or what might get to him, affect him? Is all that overblown? Is there any truth to any of that? Do we think he goes in too amped up and makes mistakes, or is he going so amped up that he starts dealing? Like, what's Jeffrey? Do you have any feel or vibe on, like, the whole Jackson Arnold element and what might matter and what might not matter?
I thought the best thing he could have done this week is exactly what he did, which is decline media.
Yeah.
Nothing to be gained for him in answering all the questions that he did or that he could have been asked. I don't put a lot of stock in the whole returning home and will he be strong, high strung, or anything like that. Maybe I'm wrong there. I don't think it's a big deal.
What do you think, Cole? I kind of said the same. I was on with the Center Scoop guys earlier this week and did a show, and that was sort of my take. I felt like he doesn't come across to me as I think he's a gamer. I think he's a competitor. I think he'll be fired up, but I think he's pretty grounded. I got to talk to his dad a good bit and his quarterback coach, and if those are the kind of people around him, then I think he's got good people around him that are like that will keep him grounded. I don't think it will be a negative factor. If anything, I think it will fire him up a little bit. I don't think it's going to be something where he goes out and makes, like, first quarter, he's airing it out, airmail and passes, throws a pick,
Right.
makes a bunch of bad decisions. Could be wrong, but I don't think that'll happen. I think there's a better chance that it motivates him than it affects him negatively. But Cole, do you think what about the X's and O's standpoint? Is there anything Jackson walks into this game going, I know what I practice against these guys every day. I know what they want to do and what they don't want to do. I know how to maybe attack them a little bit, or I know how they might want to attack me. Is there any of that could play out?
I actually think Venables has the upper hand on that when it comes to those two things, knowing everything about Arnold as opposed to Arnold knowing everything about their defense.
Mm-hmm.
He can play around with that. He's in more control to me than Arnold will be over that kind of stuff. And he knows what to do to attack him and maybe get him off balance. And well, I'll say this, though, as far as Jackson, I'm about to sound like Mel Kiper Jr. here. If all of this film study that I've done pays off at all, the one thing that I've seen, Jackson Arnold, even when he's played bad, like in the Tennessee game a year ago for Oklahoma, he doesn't look worried ever. Like, he's one of those guys that has that stone face. He doesn't ever look to be rattled. And he seems to just kind of roll with the punches. And I think that is just one of the best qualities any quarterback can have. We've talked about that before. You watch guys like Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, they're stone face all the time. It's like they got whatever quality it is in your brain that makes you nervous and stressed. They don't have it. And I feel like Jackson Arnold has a little bit of that going on. I've never seen him just freak out. I've never seen his body language changed all that much. He'll just come back in and keep doing his thing, even though he just fumbled the ball 3 times or whatever. It just doesn't seem to bother him. So if there's anything I feel good about going in this game based on that, you can never know. It could start tomorrow. It could start Saturday for all we know. But it's that he's going to be confident. That he's going to have enough composure to get done what needs to be done. So I feel pretty good about that part. And then I give Venables the edge as far as the X's and O's part, where he knows exactly what he needs to do to throw Arnold off. I would think he would have an idea. But, he's always been real complimentary of Jackson Arnold, talking about his skill set and how talented he is. And I don't even think that there's a huge gap between Arnold and Mateer as far as, like, arm talent goes. I think they're really close. In that matter. The only difference, I think, is John Mateer is a lot more willing to throw the football. He'll push it in there. He's actually more of a pass first guy than a run first guy. He wants to get rid of it. Now he'll throw a pick or two doing that. Whereas Arnold's more like, I'd rather just use my legs. I don't want to turn this thing over. I'm really interested, man. I really think this matchup is going to be great. I think it's going to be tight.
I'm with you. I don't think I've given my pick to be Matt yet, but
I gave mine. I almost want to change it, but I'll roll with it.
I'm leaning hard. I feel like that. Like there's definitely a part of me that thinks that Oklahoma could win by 10. I saw our boy Josh Pate. I think he said Oklahoma would win by double digits, like 10-ish, maybe 14. Definitely, I can see a world where that happens. But there is something inside of me that's like that thinks this could be a very competitive physical game, and maybe even what we say the over under was 47, 48.
Yeah, I think it goes
47
over.
and a half.
Yeah, like you think it goes over, Cole?
Hold on, let me tell you. Yes, I do. I had to add my score together there.
Yeah. But there's a part of me that thinks maybe it barely. Like there's a part of me. I mean, remember last year's game? Now, granted, I think both teams are in a better situation offensively, but last year's game was 21-16 with 4 minutes left. I mean, and then Oklahoma had the pick six and got the field goal. I mean, there's a part of me that thinks both defensive lines like play well, and it's not some big shootout, and we're sitting at 24-17 with a few minutes left. I don't know. There's a part of me that thinks that too, that Auburn does kind of play well and tackle well and kind of contain them a little bit. I don't know. I haven't quite decided. Alston being back, how big of a deal is it to have Alston back? And the running backs could look more like the Baylor situation with Arnold healthy as well. Sitting here looking, by the way, in the Freeze era, Auburn's 11-0 when they have a 100-yard rusher.
Wow.
Interesting.
Wow.
It's one of the most consistent ones. Looking through here, like when scoring and allowing points, it's one of the most telling stats in terms of winning and losing. Even turnovers, they're all over the place. Like Auburn's 4-4 when they have no turnovers under Hugh Freeze. Like there's nothing about the turnover stats that the rushing is almost by far that, and obviously scoring, like duh, yeah, if you get 30 plus, you got pretty good chance of winning. But 100-yard rush, they're 11-0, and so whether that's Jackson, whether that's Jeremiah, whether that's Damari,
I don't think
they do that Saturday.
I don't think they'll have a 100-yard rusher in this game.
I don't either.
If they do, it'll be Arnold. But
yeah,
Oklahoma's defense is so stout up front. I mean, they really are. They really are. I don't want to prop them up too much, but David Stone, you remember him, Jeffrey? 5-star.
I've seen him.
He's every bit of a 5-star.
He almost transferred, right? Wasn't there a bunch of stuff about? Did he enter or? Yeah,
like entered for.
Was he at Tennessee?
No, that's David Sanders. Oh. That's the 5-star offensive lineman. This was David Stone, Jr., 5-star defensive lineman. I think he played for IMG, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, he's starting to work his way in to that lineup. He's very good. Jaden Jackson was a guy Auburn offered from IMG Academy. He's really good up front. Marvin Jones Jr., I think he was major recruit. Mm-hmm. He's really good. They'll get R. Mason Thomas back in the second half. He's a game changer, maybe the best edge rusher in the SEC. I mean, across the front, they're stout. So I think Auburn's pretty stout across the offensive line. Again, that's one of those matchups where Oklahoma gets the clear edge beforehand.
Yeah. Well, this is the kind of game where I think Cole froze for a second. But this is the game where all this talk about the offensive line, all these starts and games under their belt. I think I can't remember what the stat was, but they've got, here we go. Auburn's offensive line has 257 career games played. That's the most in the SEC. Like, wow. If that's where you're at and you go spend, $1.5 million or more on Xavier Chaplin, like, it's got to show. I mean, Cole talks about the receivers got to show. The offensive line's got to show. Connor Lynn. I mean, Dylan Wade, you bring back for year 14. Like, it's got to show at some point. And this is the game. This is where you go out and you get smoked and this group can't control the line of scrimmage. Then you still got A&M, you still got Georgia, you still got Bama. Like if now we're like, if you can't control the line, then good luck. And you don't have to dominate that matchup. You don't have to dominate that matchup. You just got to win it. You got to win that more times than you lose it. You don't have to run for 300, but you got to win that more times than you lose it, which they've done a great job on. First down, I wrote the other day, Auburn's averaged 6 yards a play on first down this year. Like they've been great on first down.
Derek Nixon calls some plays on.
Yeah, that's got to continue. I don't know. It's harder when you play good defenses, but it's just they've been able to run the ball.
Yes. Well, that's the thing with the offensive line, Justin, is, man, they're fantastic run blockers. They're so inconsistent pass blocking. I think it was against USA last week, where USA rushed 3 and, Auburn had 5, and they still sacked Jackson Arnold. And I went, that can't happen against anyone, especially South Alabama. and if that's the case, right, I'm not sold on, I'm just not sold on the wide receivers creating separation right now, or Jackson Arnold being able to find them in the right hole. So there's a lot of question marks for me on Auburn's offense. That's the biggest concern. Oklahoma is going to score points. I don't have any doubt about that. Oklahoma is going to score 20 plus. I just don't know that Auburn can. I don't know that Auburn's offense can score 20 plus against Oklahoma. And you even mentioned the 24-17. That's what I sent BMAC.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. 47.5 is what, 27-20? That's probably about right. I've got it under, just because of Auburn's end. I just don't know that Auburn can uphold its end of the bargain on the over and under there. I think Oklahoma's going to score points. I just don't know how many Auburn can score.
Yeah.
And they might talk me. Listen, dude, you talked about, there's a world where Oklahoma wins by 10. Shit, dude, there's a world where Auburn wins by 10.
Yeah.
There is. Like Cole said earlier, Mateer, he's not afraid to throw it. But as a result, he's going to throw some picks. I think he's thrown at least one pick in each of the last 3 games. There you go.
He got 3 this year. He's got 3. I mean, he will sling it.
He's got 31 more pass attempts than Arnold does as well.
And 3 interceptions. And Jackson's had, so, there's – I still don't know if we know for sure. The thing about these two teams is this. We've watched every snap Auburn's played. We've watched probably most of those snaps twice. For me personally, I watched Oklahoma against Michigan, and when I'm watching that game, I'm looking for things that concern me when it comes to them being an opponent of Auburn. I'm going, oh, wow, that front four to me. And I've since learned that their linebackers are, their leading tackles. Well, is that because the front four is freeing them up to make those plays? I know Auburn defenses have lived off that long, back in the Kevin Steele days, back in the Will Muschamp days. So to include the front 7, not just the front 4, and the inconsistencies that I've seen in the pass pro, the run game doesn't scare me for Auburn. Auburn's going to run the football, and what scares me is if they can't run the football, is Auburn's offensive line going to give Jackson Arnold enough time to get the ball to the Cam Coleman's, to the Eric Singletons, to help for Horatio Fields, Malcolm Simmons. So that's, to me, big picture wise, that's what scares me the most about this game is Oklahoma's going to score points. I don't see that not happening. It's can Auburn score as much or more than Oklahoma?
Cole, how big a deal is Jay Crawford if he doesn't play? So he was on the bike Tuesday during practice session. He's listed as doubtful. I talked to somebody yesterday that, of course, we're recording this Thursday morning. So I guess I talked to somebody Wednesday night that hinted that it was very possible that that Rayshawn Pleasant could be the starting corner opposite Kayan Lee in this game. And then Rayon Strader would come off the bench. I think Pleasant was listed as probable, along with like a few other guys, but I think Pleasant will be good to go. I think Eric Singleton Jr. is fine. By the way, these Wednesday injury reports, I kind of take them with a grain of salt because it's the first one that comes out. It's Wednesday. I feel like the Wednesday injury report is just, let's just put everybody on there. Let's be super cautious. I mean, there's definitely a chance Jay Crawford doesn't play, but like Eric Singleton Jr. being on there, he's fine.
I don't think that injury report is a projection. I think it's more of a if today were game day, this is what.
Yeah, it's a snapshot. But like Eric Singleton Jr. is fine. He's running. He's totally fine. He probably shouldn't even be on there, but But I think they're just like, let's include anybody with a nick or a bruise or like a whatever and just put him as probable. I mean, you could just, because who cares? You just put him as probable and then come Friday, just go, he's good. I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing that. But back to the Jay Crawford thing. I mean, you're facing a team that's going to throw the ball, that throws the ball for 314 yards a game, and your best corner may not play. Are we overlooking like the importance of that? I mean, maybe it's just a day or two. We're just kind of a day or two in now of understanding that Jay Crawford may not play, but sounds like a big deal to me.
It's a loss. You can't say it any other way. We haven't really seen Jay Crawford be targeted too much. He gave up one in the Baylor game in a man coverage target. But we know what he's capable of, and we know you feel better with him out there. However, I will say Auburn has done well getting depth at this position. I think we've all said Pleasant and Strader, they probably need to be on the field more. Well, we're about to see it. We're about to see them on the field a lot if Jay Crawford's not playing. So, and I could easily see Jay Crawford moving from doubtful to questionable and giving it a go. Like, I could see that happening. But he was on the bike all day Tuesday. That was probably not a great sign. We'll see how that plays out as the week goes. But, that's what you recruited Pleasant and Strader for. Those guys were pretty well thought of in the portal. Yeah. And they'll get their shot, and it's going to be a big one. They're going to have to cover some good receivers. And I believe one of Oklahoma's best receivers was on that injury report.
He is. He's listed as probable. Keontez Lewis, who is right now, I think, their second leading receiver in terms of receptions, has a couple touchdowns.
Yeah,
should be good. But apparently, he got smoked in their last game, got a concussion. And so they were unsure if he was going to play. But if he's listed there, it looks like he will. So it's nothing like. It's not like an ankle or a knee. Like, as long as he's, I guess, past his concussion protocol, I guess he'll be 100% in that regard. But you're right. Rayshon Pleasant needs to be ready to go. I mean, he could be a big part of, another big kick return would help. Another big kick return would help from that dude.
Nothing better than unexpected points.
What about Malcolm Simmons? Like, he might be back, I guess.
Big deal.
He hasn't made an impact yet. I mean, really, hasn't really had an opportunity in the passing game, which, I don't know. It's a lot of it's going to be Cam Coleman and Eric Singleton dominated, and Horatio's kind of become that possession guy. So we sort of talked about, where does Malcolm fit in exactly? Where does Perry Thompson fit in exactly? But Malcolm had a big catch in this game last year.
He had a big catch in the Baylor game. I mean, I think he's made the most of his opportunities so far.
Yeah, that's right.
Most of his opportunities so far, and he's been limited on opportunities. I think that's all that is. I think having him back is a big boost. Now you got to worry about Singleton and Simmons. They can get open. They can both do it, or you can use them in the jet sweep game, which is tough. It's just this offense. I've been critical of it many times, and I want to write an article on this, so I don't want to go too far into it, but I feel like there's been a philosophy change for Freeze this year in the way he's handling his quarterback. And that's why we've seen the run game a lot more instead of just green light on everything for quarterback. Because I can go back and look at my play script. There's 100 times they could have thrown matchups in the South Alabama game because South Alabama was actually not doing the shell that everybody else was doing. They weren't scared to try them. But they knew the better option was to run the ball, get out of there. We don't need to run the score up in this game. Let's try to get healthy. Let's try to get out of here and get started on Oklahoma. And Cobb had a good day. He's shown he can handle that. And that's good. There's so many good things, in my opinion, that have happened to this point with his offense, and there's so much more potential for it. And I'm excited to see what they do with it.
Hey, fellas, I'm about to be out of service. So let me get my prediction in.
Yeah, what you got?
All right, I'm sticking with the 24-17. I sent Pete Matt earlier this week. Again, my concern is Auburn not being able to keep pace with Oklahoma on offense. They're gonna. I'm concerned, like Cole said, they're going to stop the run, and then the pass pro is not going to be there against Oklahoma. I think, again, there's a world where there's a lot of possibilities in this game. Auburn wins by 10. Auburn wins a close one. Oklahoma wins by 10. Oklahoma wins close. I think we're going to be able to say that for the next 4 or 5 games.
Yeah.
I really do. I mean, I think Auburn can win them all. I think we'll know a lot more about it Friday or Saturday afternoon. But I haven't seen enough yet, at least, to think Auburn's going to go into Oklahoma and come out with a win. So I've got Oklahoma 24, Auburn 17. Taking Oklahoma -6.5, and I'm taking the under.
There you go.
Book it. No, actually, don't book this yet at all. That's just my best guess.
I like it.
I'll listen in on Friday to see what y'all come out.
All right.
All right.
Have a safe trip.
All right, buddy. See y'all.
See it.
I don't mind that pick. I don't mind it. Yeah. It could be 31-23, or something, but I'm sort of leaning where Jeffrey is, where it's maybe slightly under, and maybe both defensive lines play fairly well, and it's not some big shootout. Again, I go back to tackling and offensive line. Like, it's literally Auburn's offensive line. When your internet went out, I told Jeffrey, to me, the offensive line is sort of the same thing as what you said about the receiver. You got all these guys coming back. You get all these starts and games under the belt. You go out and you spend a bunch of money to get Xavier Chaplin. You bring in Mason Murphy. That group has got to show up the same way the receivers. Like, you can't be the most veteran group in the SEC and just go get smoked in this matchup, because you can't. You cannot be the most veteran group in the league and you go out and get maybe the best portal tackle available. You're doing all that. You better be a stalemate in a game like this, or maybe have an edge. Like, I don't care if it's Georgia, Bama, you better show up. And that offensive line, they have to win that matchup. They have to win it. Even a stalemate, I'm not even sure gets the job done. They have got to win that matchup. Not all the time, but one of the biggest things for Auburn this year is they've stayed ahead of the chains. They're averaging well over 6 yards of play on first down. They've been, I wrote about it multiple times now, in power rush situations. So 2 yards or less to convert a first down or a touchdown. They're 22 of 23 through 3 games. So, like, they've been good on first down, which has enabled them to stay ahead of the chains where they haven't had to throw the ball. They're converting short yardage. They're not turning it over. All that goes back to, I think, pretty good offensive line play when it comes to the run game. But the O-line's got to show up and they got to tackle. They do those 2 things, and I think you're right there with a chance to win. But tackling, it's like it hasn't been great. How in the world do you predict that? How do you go, well, they missed 15 and 17 against the 2 competent teams they've played, but they'll go out and miss 3 against Oklahoma. Like, I can't predict that. Maybe they tackle great, or maybe we have a real big problem tackling. I don't really know what to think about that, but they better go tackle a lot better than they have been.
Yeah, they're going to miss some tackles. I'll go ahead and prepare you for that. That's going to happen. But, you can still clean it up a lot from what we saw, like in the Baylor game. You just take half of those away, and Auburn probably saves some points. Back to the Baylor game, though. You give up over 400-something yards passing, and you still hold them to 24 points. That's good. I mean, that you almost take away from that and go, if you're able to do that, it's because you made them one-dimensional. They could not run the ball on you.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to be – now, Oklahoma, man, they got these backs. They got really good backs. They got Jade Knott sitting there.
Auburn did a good job a couple years ago. He did not go off in Cal. He didn't go off in that game.
No, and I think he's like the 4th-string guy right now for Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Javante Barnes, that guy's really good. Torrey Blaylock, That guy came out of nowhere. He's really good. He was a 4-star recruit. I mean, they got these guys, but they lean on Mateer in the run game, at least so far. They haven't used those guys as much. Production's a lot lower than Auburn's running back room. But as far as offensive line goes, I feel great about Auburn's run game with the offensive line, even with how highly I think of Oklahoma's defensive front. I think they can handle it. I think they're equipped to handle any defensive front they see this season. So I feel pretty good about that part of it. I don't think, if things are going smoothly, you shouldn't ever be in situations where you're dropping back and passing all the time. That's not really how the offense is designed to be. I think they've pushed that at times in the past few weeks. They've said, look, this is probably not the time to do it. Let's go ahead and throw a drop back in there. Let's see how we handle it. We got control of this game. Let's test it out. I think I've seen a couple of instances of that in the first 3 games. Again, you give up 400-something yards passing to one of the best quarterbacks in the country, one of the best passing attacks in the country, and you still hold them to 24 points, one of those being a total busted coverage. I think you got to give this defense credit on the bend, don't break factor that they have, and they really tighten up in the red zone. At least they have so far. And then I don't know if John Mateer is like the Heisman. I don't know if he's that good. He can show me that in this game. I'm not buying it yet. I think he's really good. I think he's extremely talented, but I think he could turn the ball over a few times, and that could get them in trouble. And I don't think their offensive line's that great, Oklahoma's.
Yeah, that could be a sneaky. You've mentioned that, and I don't disagree. Could be an underappreciated talking point. We're all talking about Jackson Arnold, Mateer, and and some different things, and that's definitely one that's not being talked about is Auburn's D line versus Oklahoma's offensive line. Can Auburn win that matchup the way they won the Baylor matchup? That would be a really big deal for sure. If they can, because you're right. Somebody mentioned to me the other day, like Auburn gave up whatever it was to Sawyer Robinson and still won that game by 2 touchdowns. He had a kick return helped, but held him to 24. So you're right. Like giving up 300 passing yards it's not the end of the world if you can kind of shut down the run and it's a lot of one-dimensional. Now you could still lose that way, but that's giving up 300 is not the end of the world. It's giving up 300 and then Mateer also like got loose on multiple runs and ends up with 65, 70 yards rush. And then you're like, okay, well, you're in a lot of trouble then. So it's not one thing. It's the same thing with Auburn. I mean, if Auburn runs the ball pretty well, but none of it's Jackson Arnold and there's no real scrambles from him. And it's just they're kind of pounding it with 4.5 yards, but Arnold never really gets loose and hits you with anything. Oklahoma can survive that stuff. Looking through here at some of these stats, here's another one that in the freeze era that just really stands out, which is scoring first in halftime. So Auburn's 10-4 when they score first under freeze, and they're 12-1 when they lead at halftime. When the opponent scores first, they're 4-10, obviously, and if they're trailing at halftime, they're 1-9. Like that's the other stat outside of having a 100-yard rusher. 12-1 when they're up at halftime, 1-9 when they're not. So that's another one so far that's played out that's been almost completely lopsided one way or the other. You talk about R. Mason Thomas not playing in the first half. I wonder. He was great last year. He is really good. He's had a slow start. It's not like he's been on a tear these first 3 games.
Well, you can say that about Keldrick too. I mean,
yeah. So, but he's really good. He's a problem. You got to think about him. I am curious if that will have an impact. Number one, Auburn's got to take advantage of that in the first half, but then he comes out in the second half, and if Auburn has some success, maybe protecting, but then he comes out in the second half, and all of a sudden he's causing a problem. Now you've got to adjust in the third quarter versus maybe adjusting in the first quarter. I'm curious about that sort of chess match where if you came out in the first quarter and you're like, all right, this guy's a problem. We still got a lot of time to adjust. You come out and you're losing, and then he comes out in the third quarter and he's a problem. Now you're adjusting to something in the middle of the third quarter. So I do wonder about that storyline. All right, for me.
Wait, I got a question for you real quick.
Yes, what's the question?
I meant to ask Jeffrey this too. So take everything that you know about the freeze era at Auburn out of your mind.
That's going to be hard to do. I'll give it a shot.
It's because the reason I'm doing this is because I believe we base a lot on that. I do. I know I do it.
What else do you want me to go off of?
I want you to go off the first 3 games of the season.
Okay.
This team, this roster, what you've seen this team put on the field in the first 3 games and at practice since you've been there. Take away the games that Freeze has lost. Take away the bad decisions that we've seen. Just put this team on paper and on the field in their production against that team. Does it change your opinion at all, or are you still in the same exact boat?
It's a really hard question because tendencies are tendencies. I mean, if I could, if I ignored the last couple of seasons and even more than that, I mean, sure, I would have probably a little bit different outlook on Auburn. I would look at them and say, that's a team that can run the ball. That's a team that's in control. That's a team that has not really even come close to putting the ball in harm's way.
Yeah.
It's a bend but don't break defense. And you know, that'll be tough to beat.
Yep.
That's got some explosive ability, even though they haven't shown it. And so, yeah, and I mean, I think I am kind of going into this game viewing them as what they are this year. You know, I don't think they're going to go in, and I mean, I do definitely have some lingering question marks about, like, is this team actually different than what we've seen in the last 2 years? Like when it comes to winning football through and through, they've shown flashes in the past of being physical here and there, but what have we seen in the last 2 years is just time and time again, mistakes at bad times, turnovers, whatever it is. Are they a team that's going to play winning football? Like, penalties are down, no turnovers. I don't know. I think we'll find out a lot more.
I haven't really paid attention to penalties. They've been kind of low on that, right?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's been okay. I mean, there've been some, but it's
more
been
on
like
defense than on
a couple on special teams, a couple of DPIs. I mean, a couple of
2
holds.
face masks.
Yeah, not bad, but definitely a couple that have cost them. But no, nothing egregious. They're not committing 9-10 penalties a game or anything.
There was a hold on Perry Thompson in the Baylor game, which I thought was garbage. But
I don't know, man. I just my rational logically, I would say OU wins this game, and I would kind of go along where Jeffrey's at. I'm like 27-20 maybe. But boy, there's something inside of me that wants to say Auburn surprises everybody.
Yeah, I'm saying
plays really well on defense and tackles pretty well. But I think if they're playing it 10 times, like, that would be that'd be the 3 out of 10 or maybe 4 out of 10 scenario. You know, I don't know. I don't love the secondary issue. That's hard to overlook. If Crawford doesn't play and you've not tackled well, and safety's been a little bit of an issue, that's hard to overlook when you're about to go against Mateer and Ben Arbuckle in Oklahoma. Like, I don't know I could hope and wish, but that's hard to overlook if Crawford's not in there and Champ Anthony's got a cast on his right hand, and and you've had some issues with tackling. You know what I mean? That secondary as a whole, that situation, you overcome that. If Jake Crawford doesn't play and Champ Anthony's got a club and you haven't tackled, and all of a sudden you kind of bring it all together in Norman, I mean, that's hard to imagine it all just comes together like that. But so I'm kind of with Jeffrey. I'm thinking right on the line, maybe 24-20, 27-20 OU at this moment, man. I don't know.
Yeah. We didn't talk about it, but Champ Anthony, I think, actually makes a big difference. I felt like his presence on the field against Baylor was a big deal. He does things right. He plays physically. I think he covers better than others.
Do you think an ideal scenario would be Fagans or Winners keep getting better and one of them goes to safety so you can move Champ to nickel? Like, is that a better scenario than Champ at safety and Smith at nickel? Like, wouldn't you rather have, like, Winners? Okay, Winners keeps getting better. Let's start Winners and Caleb Harris, and then Fagans can back up Winners, and then Champ's your nickel guy. Would that make you, if that developed, would that make you happy?
Yeah, I mean, I would just like to see them put a better coverage guy there. The problem is, you don't want to get caught in a situation where you have. I mean, Sylvester Smith's out there for a reason. He's out there because he's good on blitzes. He's good in the box area, short area. That's why Durkin likes him at nickel. But then you keep getting caught in these mismatches. How do you fix that? I think Champ Anthony could be the answer there. Blake would be coming along, would be great because I think he's more of a coverage guy, but he's physical. Like he's a nice fit at nickel, but where is he at? So in Pleasant, I mean, like we talked about Pleasant, maybe he's the guy there. Get him on the field more. He's physical. He's a big guy. He covers well. He's fast. They still got a lot of things to play around with in the secondary. That's the one part where when I did the edges, I gave Oklahoma a pretty fair edge there. I think their secondary is much more experienced and better than Auburn's right now. Especially like if you're not having Jay Crawford out there, that's a big veteran piece you're missing, even though he's just a sophomore. My score prediction, Justin, I think if one of these two teams gets to 30, they win the game.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm giving Oklahoma 30 and Auburn 28.
Oh gosh, that's a barn burner.
I think it's going to be one of those. I think it's going to be close, and it sucks because people are going to read the comments and go, "Well, they might as well not even play the game according to y'all." But if you listen to what we're saying,
no, I think it's going to be really competitive.
Really close.
Yeah,
I just can't give Auburn the edge. I mean, it's so close. I have to give Oklahoma the slightest edge. Just because I just think that's the truth. But I can easily see Auburn sneaking up and I think Auburn's offensive line is good enough to go toe-to-toe with anyone. I think the receivers could break out at any moment. Jackson Arnold, I think he's fine. I think he can throw the ball better than what we've seen so far. Depending on how it's called, depending on the flow of the game, all that good stuff. I'm going 30-28. I originally had 30-24, and then I changed it to 30-28, like as I was sending that to BMAT. But I hate to do that because I think it could go either way. But that's where I'm at right now.
I'm with you. I'm gonna go. Whatever. I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna send this to BMAT. I'm gonna go 24-21 Auburn. I'm gonna do it. I'm going to pull the trigger. Do I think out of 10 out of 10, does Oklahoma win more in this situation? I would, yes. But I'm just going to say, I mean, whatever. I think Auburn plays well. And they think it's a really close game. I don't know. I think Auburn will make some plays. I think their defensive line will play well. And let's say Cam or Eric Singleton make a few plays. Jackson Arnold kind of gets in gamer mode and makes a few plays, and McPherson hits a field goal at some point that's big. And what comes to mind is the Florida game in 2007. That's what I'm thinking about.
Oh, field goals.
In Gainesville, Byram hits that field goal. Like that's what I'm going to go 24-21. McPherson hits a field goal in the fourth quarter to put them up 24-21 at some point, and they hold on.
I didn't even think about field goals. That I have no confidence in that.
Well, it's going to be like a 33-yarder,
Okay.
If they win 24-21 and he hits a 33-yarder, we're gonna replay this right here, by the way.
So, given Oklahoma 21 points, are you giving like Baylor's offense the nod over Oklahoma's offense right now?
I don't know. I mean, like you said, there's a completely busted coverage that gave him 7 for sure. So I think Oklahoma finds the end zone 3 times. I just think maybe Auburn finds a way to maybe they get a turnover. Maybe they get a timely stop, force a punt, and maybe they get a missed field goal.
Well, I think the question is, what if Auburn is able to make Oklahoma one-dimensional like they did Baylor? Is Oklahoma's passing attack as good as Baylor's was? I think it is. I think it's close.
Yeah,
Baylor's on another level, dude. They are really good at throwing the football.
It's comparable. But for that to happen, for my prediction to happen, Auburn has to Auburn's got to bring it from a tackling standpoint. Have to tackle. You cannot have a bunch of yards after catch. You cannot have that nonsense. They have to tackle. I mean, you can't. I think South Alabama had like basically 100 yards after the catch. I mean, can't happen. Auburn has got to bring their lunch pail and tackle the freaking football. Make Oklahoma work for their stuff on offense. Fine if they hit a play, tackle them. Fine if Mateer finds a little running room. Mateer, by the way, he reminds me of Matt Jones way back in the day at Arkansas. Matt Jones is a little bit better runner, but just long, tall, huge stride. And if he gets out in the open, it just the stride alone will get you more yards than you think. But the key is just tackling him. Okay, he's going to escape. He'll get some yards. Bring him down. That was the thing with him. I think that's the thing with Mateer. Like like Arnold, he'll find a little sliver of space and he'll scramble a little bit and or they'll run an RPO. But bring him down, man. He's a big guy. He's a big guy. So that's fine if he gets a few yards, but go tackle and bring him down. Get to the next play.
He reminds me of Bo Nix a lot because he is very unconventional in the way he throws football a lot of times. He likes to throw it, but he'll throw it off balance. He'll throw it off his back foot.
Yeah.
He'll do a spin and throw it. Like he'll do crazy stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where it's like you look at it and go, that can't be sustainable on the next level at all. Nix had to calm it down. Like when he left Auburn, he went to Oregon. He cleaned some of that stuff up. Mateer's, I think he's kind of very similar in that way. Like he's a magician.
Yeah. And that's a big deal. I mean, he's got his OC there. He's confident in everything they do. Arnold's got to have that same confidence on the road. He's got to have complete confidence in what they're doing offensively and going back there. And
I wouldn't say that about Arnold either. I wouldn't call him like that, like a magician or a Houdini. He's more of if it's not there, I'm taking off, and it looks like I've been shot out of a cannon when I do that. When he takes off, he's gone, son.
That's going to be harder. I mean, they're going to be ready for that. They know how he wants to play. They got good linebackers. I'm not sure that he's going to necessarily find tons of room to nothing's open. All right, I'm going to take off and go. Like, I think they're going to be in pretty good position where not that he can't, run forward, get you 4 or 5 yards and go to the next play. But I don't know that necessarily he's going to be taking off and having these huge busted plays where he goes and just takes off back up the middle and gets you 15. I think their linebackers are good enough to sort of contain that to some degree. I think it's more important that you can find a little bit of running lane with him in the RPO game. Running backs seem to get the ball, but have him find your opportunities where they crash down a little bit or there's a little bit of space and make them respect you a little bit so they're not just attacking the running backs the whole time.
Are they athletic enough to completely sell out against Arnold and then they run this jet power read and all of a sudden Singleton's out there beating you to the edge?
Yeah, it's tough to deal with.
That's tough to deal with. It is. It's exactly what Gus made his living off of. I mean, it's the same play.
Yep. You got to respect Singleton, which is generally what Alabama would do a lot of times is they would have a safety roll down and they'd say, that's your guy. If they do that, safety roll down, it's him. And so then everything in the box is still, linebackers and defensive line, because if you get into the edge guy trying to go out with Singleton, then you're in all kinds of problems. So they would roll that safety down, you're one-on-one, so that everybody in the box can still maintain the box. And but every now and then, you could hit them with stuff. So, all right, let's roll. I got to go get Freeze. I'm there. I'm going to send my prediction into BMAT 24-21 Auburn. You said 30-28 Oklahoma.
Yes.
Either way, I think we all think it's going to be a competitive game. I think we all see that. A blowout would be shocking, I think.
Yeah, I'm not giving Oklahoma a clear edge. It's a slight. Slight.
Yeah. I think most people are there. All right. Go to auburnsports.com, subscribe, turn on notifications, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Appreciate everybody that listens. We'll come back on Monday morning. Cole, myself, maybe Jay Tate or Brian will have some thoughts on the game, and we'll go from there. We'll see you guys.